Hello everybody, my name is Madalina Vlad and I am the CEO of MBV Group. When I'm saying MBV Group, I mean accounting services, attracting European fund services, and for sure trade register services. All these together, put together, build MBV Group, let's say. Today, because I've told you in the latest videos about the new changes in the legislation, we will talk about all of them, but applied on the IT field, because it's really important to see how was this activity affected and what solution you may have for 2026, because it's really important to plan in advance for 2026 in order to resist and to adapt and adjust to the Romanian new rules and regulations. So stay with me, watch this video. I promise it will not be so long, and let's see what you can do. Now, I want to point out 7 fiscal changes that are affecting not only the IT field, but are affecting all of us. And I will start with the first one, which is the fact that the IT tax payroll exemption was removed starting with 1st of January 2025. And unfortunately, now all these employees have to pay all the salaries as an usual employee. The second major fiscal change was the fact that if you want to develop a business in IT field, you'll be paying 3% tax on income since the beginning as a micro enterprise, especially also in 2025, up to the amount of 250,000 euro. Unfortunately, that 1% that is valid for other fields, up to the ceiling of 60,000 euro, is not available for IT companies, as it is not for health companies that are doing their activity in healthcare sector, or for those that are doing the activity in HoReCa field. Regarding the ceiling of being a micro enterprise, do not forget that starting with 2026, the micro enterprise ceiling, it will be 100,000 euro. And even if in 2026 you are under 250,000 euro, starting with 2026, you'll be paying tax on profit 16% instead of 3%, just because at the end of December 2025, when this condition is verified, you'll be above 100,000 euro. So you'll may keep the condition of micro enterprise in 2026 only if also in 2025 you had a turnover no higher than 100,000 euro. So you need to check this really careful this year if you already have a company here in Romania. And now there is a fiscal modification that affects everybody, not only IT fields, which is related to the increase of the VAT from 19% to 21%. And because we are talking about VAT, what is important for you to know is that starting with September 2025, the ceiling for becoming a VAT payer here in Romania rose from 300,000 RON up to 395,000 RON. This is somehow good because you may keep the condition of non-VAT payer, which is helpful if you have clients from Romania. But if you have clients from outside Romania, this is not affecting you at all. So it's good up to a certain point. Another important fiscal change that needs to be taken into consideration is the fact that the tax on dividend rose from 10% to 16% in 2026, not now in 2025. But if you want to distribute dividends in the last quarter of 2025, meaning October, November, and December, then you'll have to be really attentive, because you can distribute dividends this quarter only if you have profit from the previous years or interim dividends for 2025. Otherwise, if you distribute next year from the profit of the last quarter, you'll have to pay 16% tax on profit. There is also another change that is applicable to PFA and IT sector, and also to programmers, for example, because here in Romania there are lots of programmers that are working with a PFA. The ceiling from health insurance rose from 60 minimum salaries up to 72 minimum salaries. So it's a little bit more. It's 1 year of health insurance to be paid, but hopefully they did not approve 90 minimum salaries, which was quite a lot. And the last but not the least, as I said, these are the most important fiscal changes, is the fact that the share capital also must be higher starting with 2026. Even if, for example, you want to make now a company, I would recommend you to put 500 RON as share capital since the beginning, and not wait to be above 400,000 RON as turnover in order to change the share capital. Or if you already have a company here in Romania and you want to change the share capital, then maybe it's better to do it faster now and not wait the final deadline to do this. There are lots of changes, and I may honestly say that even for us as accountants, it's quite hard to keep up with everything that our government has in its mind, and all the measurements that they are proposing or even implementing without consulting us as entrepreneurial environment. So what I do recommend you, and what you have to do to legally reduce all of this, it's like this. If you want to pay as little as possible, you need for sure to make a comparison between the taxes that you have to pay between SRL, PFA, and SRL microenterprise. You will find here on our YouTube channel the rules and regulations for calculating all these three, and you may see that in the case of a PFA, for example, what remains to you is more than 85%, which from my point of view is quite great. Why is this? Because in the case of PFA, the health insurance and a pension are sealed at certain amounts. And for example, the health insurance now it will be sealed at 72 minimum salaries, and the pension it will be sealed at 24 minimum salaries, which is quite great. For example, if you invoice 1 million euro, let's say, you'll have only 10% tax on income, and the other ones on these ceilings, based on these ceilings that I've told you before. Of course, a PFA cannot be done here in Romania in any conditions. To make a PFA, you need to have a diploma in the field of the activity of the PFA, and for sure you need to be somehow one-man show, because you cannot have too many employees, and for sure you are not scalable, and it's quite hard to develop. If, on the other hand, you want to open an SRL, then you may see the differences between SRL tax on microenterprise, which starting with next year, the ceiling it will be maximum 100,000 euro. So the other option it will be SRL, which pays tax on profit 16%. For sure, in this case, you need to see if you can have some deductions from the company, because otherwise it might be a little bit costly for you. Basically, it will be 16% since the beginning that goes directly to our government, and besides this, it will be also 16% tax on dividends. So you need to find legal ways to take out the money from the company as investment, as, I don't know, services from another company that you may have, I don't know, in other country. And that would be the directions in which you should go. Another way of legally reduce the impact, it will be like this. To distribute dividends, but only if you have dividends from the previous years, because in this case you can distribute with 10% all over the year during the year 2025. If you already distributed everything in the past years, now what you have to do is to see the profit that you have until the third quarter, basically in the period January-September, and see if you can distribute interim dividends. Basically, you need to check if the profit that you have is accordingly to the money that you have in the bank, and after that to ask your accountant to do the interim financial statement, and just right away after these were submitted, you can distribute the interim financial dividends. So this would be another one. Even if you do not pick them up, let's say that you distribute them on paper, you pay the tax on dividends, and after that you may pick them up next year or in 2 years. There is no rule or regulation to interdict you to do this. Okay, and now let's see a little bit about a short checklist and the steps that you'll have to do in this next few months, September, October, maximum November, in order to put all the transactions and everything that is in your company in order. And we'll start with first one. The first one will be the simulation of the margins that you have in 2025 and that you may obtain in 2026 if you have, let's say, contracts that are the same and that are going on a longer period. In this case, you need to be really attentive to what you'll be paying in between microenterprise, SRL tax on profit, and PFA if it's possible, and be really attentive because between them can be also a difference of more than 18%. The second checklist is to verify if, I don't know, somehow if the research and development cannot be applied in one or multiple of your projects. Because here in Romania, if you have a research and development project, you can have a deduction of 50% of the expenses, which is quite a lot, plus accelerated depreciation. The third checklist would be to see the dividends, if it's something that you can distribute in 2025, or you'll be waiting the new law, or you'll be closing the company, because this is also an option, and to open a PFA. The fourth checklist would be to verify the ceiling for the VAT, because I told you that starting with September 2025, we have a new ceiling of the VAT, which is 395,000 RON. You need to see if you are around this amount or not. And if you are around this amount, to maybe to make a credit note, or if it's not, or if you have some client that has not paid you, to make a credit note to that invoice, and so on. It's quite important to see this and to check this as well. And last but not least would be to check the share capital and to see if you have a turnover higher than 400,000 RON, and in this case you need to make a higher share capital. Or if you are in the beginning and you want to do a company here in Romania, you need to put since the beginning 500 RON the share capital, in order not to invest again, to change all the paperwork and to pay extra just because you have I don't know, 4 months still left from 2025 in which you can put 1 RON. So my advice would be to check this and put 500 RON since the beginning. This would be my recommendations. I hope that they will help you. If you already have a company here in Romania, you need to check all of this. If you have an accountant, why not? You need to speak with him, her, about these new changes and to see if it's something that it's applicable to you or not. There are certain fields that were quite affected after all these changes. IT is one of them. There is also Horeca. There is also health and everything related to health services. What I may say is that everything that is not killing us is making us stronger. And this is somehow a joke, because what I want to tell you about this is that we need to find ways to adjust and adapt to this new system. It's indeed bad that this happens, these frequent changes happens, but we need to be resilient and we need to find a way to do this better and better. Somehow they are trying to take in the surface each of us the greatest and the goodest part that we may have. Hopefully this video it was on your liking, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask us in the comment area or write us directly on office@mbv-talks.ro. We are here to help you to understand these new rules and regulations, and anything that crosses your mind you can ask here related of course to fiscality and accounting. Thank you very much for watching and waiting you here each time that you have anything to ask.